Now we need to create the product page according to the Slack, right? Once we are clicking on that product, as you see, it's redirecting to that particular page, but as we didn't create the page yet, so that's what is makes providing this error. To resolve that, it's very simple. As you may know, we already created one page here. No, not yet. So we're gonna create a now the folder structure, especially the paging structure. Feel free to go there in that Next.js documentation. Here you will find that routing system, how the routing is going on. If you just click on that and the define routes, as you see the creating routes, how it's acting to create the route is the file-based system category. So you can create the UI using just with that app.tsx. So in the apps, the page.tsx, which will be root folder, and then you can feel free to go, you can see after the app, as you see the dashboard, and within the dashboard, that page, which will be /dashboard. That means the file-based system routing is that the route's name, it should be the folder name, and that will be automatically will take the / and that the particular similar thing is that page.js or tsx should be the file name accordingly. So let's just go ahead and practice. So in the client, we're going to take a new directory or folder. We're going to provide a name of that as a product. Now, our route, it will be dynamic route. So we're going to wrap it to create that dynamic instances. We're going to wrap that within that a third packet parameter. In that like that, in between, we're going to put that Slack. So means each and every route of ours, it's gonna take the route parameter accordingly the Slack we are going to provide. Here, let's create a new file, which will be page.tsx, and we're gonna put that rafce, which will bring us back that, let's say, product, or we can say just a single product page. So that doesn't mean to have go on, but it will save the purposes. Now, as you see, we're having our single product page. Means if you just go back right now and click any of the products, it will let us roll to within that particular instances. As you see, if we click on that, it will take product, potato chips, the Slack name, and then we are coming on that particular instances. Now we need to grab that Slack, because according to that Slack, we're gonna grab our product. And how we're going to grab the product. But before going over to grab the product, we will just check the Slack. Now in new Next.js documentation, you need to call that Slack with the async and await parameter, which need to be go through at a promise. So now here we're going to define our params, which will be params, and on that params we're going to also define the types for the params. The params will be containing a promise. And that promise is going to be resolved within that parameter of that Slack. So we're going to just define our Slack in between. So it will be Slack, and that Slack, it should be as a string. Okay, done. If we now want to use the Slack, so you just need to say const, we're going to just destructure the Slack, which will be is equal to await params. Now if we make a log, we may be able to get our Slack. Let's open my terminal and also log the Slack. And now as you see, we're getting our Slack, which is rendering as a potato chips. So means we did that Slack property, we can now call to grab our product. Now here we will also going to make so many other scenario, but before going further, we will need to call our product, right? Let's roll back to Sanity. First, we're gonna write a query by which we're gonna grab our product. It will be a simple query, how we can identify that. First name, provide the name of that, which going to be the way we're gonna grab the product. So let's say export const, and it will be like say product by Slack, okay, which now here we need to define the query. In the define query, we need to provide how we gonna grab our Slack. First of all, it going to grab the properties here for sure, but right now only we're gonna define our property value. So in the define query, we're gonna define that it will get with that asterisk and then the third bracket. So now here we're gonna pass the type. The type is equal to oops, it will be type is equal to, it will be our product type, and after the product type we will join another condition which will means to match the slag.current. So whatever the slag we are like passing there, it will get our current product. So slag.current, okay, rent is equal to, we also need to define that the slag should be the current slag, so it will equal to the slag, and after that we will be able to grab the product, and we will say order should be, there will be no order ascending, or we can just make the name ascending ASC, and from there we will grab that the 0 value, the first index we're gonna grab it. So how that going to be working, right? Because we are going to pass a slag, right? That will be the slag. So that slag, whatever you're going to provide, it should be, that's the current we are going to send, and that will match with the slag only then. So it will go to fetch the product in our product query, like in the product array. Then it will going to match with the slag. If it's matched the slag, it will return the, it will fetch the product. So that's what's the condition we are passing. Is similarly how we are dealing or doing with, especially in that ID, that's the same parameter is working here. Now in that index file, we need to run another function which is going to be, let's say, export const, it will be get product by slag, which also going to be an assign function, as we are going to bring the products from the Sanity. And now here we're gonna make the try catch, right? So in that way it will be more safe and more productive. So I'm gonna just copy one of the error log here, which is going to be product, just product fetching error, just to keep it the simple. And if there is an error, this time we'll send null, means nothing will be returned from there. Now we're gonna get our cache value. So const, it will be a single product is equal to, and here we're gonna get our slag here, which is going to be, let's say, await. And here we're gonna define our Sanity fetch. In that fetch method, we're gonna pass a query. In that query, we're gonna pass that query which is going to be product by slag, and there is one catch. Every single product going to have an slag, right? So we're gonna pass the slag from our content, like whenever we are going to pass the call value. Now, as we are having the slag, we can now pass the parameter on the slag. So the params, in that params, we're gonna pass our slag properties. So it will be the slug, which we are having over there. Now, as we are getting the product, we can just simply return some value, which will be return either product.data if there is available. Otherwise, if nothing is available, it will directly get the null value. So that's it. Our function is ready to bring the product using slag. Now, if we roll back to our page, we can just simply define how we want to see the page. So we're gonna say const product is equal to await, and here it will be get product by slag, and in the slag we need to pass the slag value. Done. And in the log we will check if we are receiving any product or not, as is in server side. So the report, it should be coming in the server section, so it should be products. Save. And after dealing that, as you see, it's returning one single product, which is coming with the image and it's a product. So means it's working perfectly. Let's roll back there and we're gonna see if we are going to fetch the similar product. So as you see, we have the mango juice. Click on that mango juice and it will redirect to the single page. And if we just roll back on there, as you see, we're getting that mango juice back. So now all the properties is perfectly aligned. We are getting it perfectly done. Now what you need to do, as we're having that, now we can put that things in a show, means we're going to have everything in between. And how we can have that, especially we're gonna fetch everything within our container. And in the container value, we're gonna pass all of those things. First, we're gonna pass the product image. So if the product.image is available, and remember, as we are getting that, remember there is one more, we are not getting the suggestion because there is an error, like because the image should be go here. What we need to do, as we are writing in new queries, we need to run our if you just roll back in the package.json, there is thing the type gen. We need to run the type gen, otherwise it will not define the type. As you may know, we are not getting the type by default. What we are doing, we are just making that npm run type gen, and it's generating our type every time. So now this time also, if it's just going to generate a new type for that, so whenever we're going to work on, especially on that product, after defining the type, we should be able to get the type of products whatever we have. Like if you just go in back in that function over here in the index file, as you see in the data is now an empty property, any value can be there. Now as you see the 4 grok queries there, if you just come over right now, as you see product by Slack result. So now we are having a Slack product, and if we just roll back here, and this time if we type something like previously how I type, if we make that product dot as you see image, now we are having that, we're getting those properties, right? So if there is a Slack like image, then we're gonna pass a div, and in that div we're gonna render an image. How are we gonna render? We're gonna just simply render that one within that next image property, and in the source value, as we did earlier, we're gonna pass that URL for value to generate our URL, to just prefetch the URL and concat with that. And here we're gonna pass that product.image value, and then we're gonna say just get me the URL back. And after that, we need to pass one alternative tag. If the image is not showing here, that tag going to be seen, and we will be able to see that image is happening. If I save now, you're gonna get one error, because as we practiced earlier, as that image we are fetching from the like outside of that project, especially from Sanity domain, we need to specify for the Next.js in which dimension they will grab the picture, and I will provide a width which will be 700 by 700 dimension. And if I save, we should be able to see one image right here. As you see, that's what I'm talking about. We are getting our image. Now we will make it perfect to look alike in a perfect shape. And how the things we're gonna do? First thing first, in the div, particularly in the top layer of the div, we're gonna make a class name which will be flex, and by default it's going to be flex column. In MD screen it will be flex row. We're gonna provide a gap of 10. We're gonna provide a padding Y vertically which will be 10. So now that will give a prompt here. First thing, this div, so there should be a 2 div. One is providing the image, another which will be providing the details. Okay, so there will be 2 separate div. Now we need to align these 2 all together. How we can do that? First thing first, here put a class name. It will take the full width, MD. It will be width should be 1/2, and then height should be auto, and we're gonna pass a border, and that border should be dark blue, and we're gonna pass a 20 of opacity. We're gonna pass a shadow which will be, let's say, MD, medium shadow. Rounded should be MD. And we're gonna also make it as a group. We need that group? I don't think so. Yeah, we need group because we're gonna make it an hover effect. As you see, it's there, but this one is not so looks proper, because as you see by default is fetching the product 700 by 700, which will make our product clear. Now as I have the ratio, I grab the product. Now I can style it, because it's already clear. I can make it smaller and it will be more clear, right? So width should be full, and max height, we're gonna provide a default height which will be 550 pixel max. Object should be covered to keep everything stick together. And after doing that, as you see, it's coming, I think, getting a shape. So right now also, whenever I'm gonna hover on the group, oops, not the group, it should be group hover. That should be a scale of 110, and we're gonna pass a hover effect. One more things also need to painting there. We can say rounded should be empty. Okay, as you see, that's overflow getting a dump. So here we can define that overflow should be hidden. Now we see our product. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Also, we can define it perfectly. If you just reduce some of the sizes, it will be more visible. Now it depends on you how you want to make it look like. I'll just keep it in default way. You can arrange it a more professional in a more algorithmic way. So now it's time to provide the details here. So to provide the details, it will be pretty simple. So here we're gonna take another div, and on that div I'm gonna take a p tag where I'm gonna say product name, which would be product dot name. And as you see, the name is avail here. So in that list also put a class name which should be full, so get proper width. And for md it will be similar ratio, which will be, we're gonna provide a width of 1/2, so the half width it will take. And should be flex should be in column ratio, and we're going to provide a gap of 5 to put a good alignment there. Now this is the one div here which going to have our product and then the particular parameter, right? So in that div we're going to have one more div here in between, so this div, and in that div there will be a p tag by which we're going to define, like we'll just put some dummy text here. Whenever we're gonna inject our reviews, we can concat that, so it will be 25 reviews. Okay, now here that's the review, so we can also design that to make it look better. And this one, text should be small text, font should be medium, and text should be gray of 500. That's it. So now if we roll back here, we're looking for that one review text, right? But before that, there will be some other prompt also. So what are we going to render is that, to define that in a very quick and stable way, remember we are passing one array. So if we go back to our product card, we are already developed one array properties. We are going to just collect that array. We're going to copy that, and then we're going to roll back to our page, and here we're going to just publish that. So import that star. That's it. Now we should be able to see that star and reviews all together, right? Now to make it look aligned, I think we need to provide some design for the p tag for our product. The text should be, we're going to define a text of 4 pixels, and font should be bold, and margin bottom should be 2, so that it gonna align together and it will looks in a proper way. So now for the reviews, as we having that review, as you see the div which is containing our reviews, we're gonna make that one particularly aligned, which will be flex item center. We're gonna provide a gap of 2, so it will just contain our in a very static ratio, which is, I think, similar, not quite bad, and it's serving the purpose, right? After that review section, we are going to bring back one more properties. So we're going to close that div. After that div, we're going to have our price view, right? Remember the price view which we created? And in the price view, we're going to have a price, and that price properties should be product dot price, and also for the discount, which will be our product dot discount. And after that, we're going to pass a label, which going to be our product dot label, and hit save. Let's see what we're getting from our price formation. As you see, 25, and the ratio is to 28.75, and we're getting 100 milli. Now we are actually getting a pretty much cool layer there. Now we're going to define the class name. Text should be LG and font should be bold. Let's see if it's working or not, just to try if it's working. No, it's not worked. Means we didn't set that, right? Whenever we are passing the class name, we need to inject the class name, because this kind of small letter is okay. It's okay for our other property, like for card, but we are in the single page, so it must be in a bigger ratio, right? Let's go back in the price view. As you see, whenever we are forecasting the price formatter, here we're gonna pass the class name. So the class name should be the class name which we are injecting, and after dealing with that, it should be getting bigger. Okay, cool. And also this price formatter, we're gonna also pass that. We're gonna concat that ratio. So here we're gonna say cn, and in the cn it should be our default value, then gonna pass that our current value. I think, yeah, okay. So we are having that and it's okay. Now after passing this ratio, so this time we should be able to generating my other properties, which will be after the price view. We need to pass if the product is stock or not. So if we say product dot, let's say if the product is available in the stock, only then this block will generate it. And we're gonna say we're gonna pass a p tag here, and in the p tag we're gonna just pass that in stock. Okay, and we will also customize that to look it to make it looks much better, and should be green of 100, should be green of 100, and we're gonna provide a 24 of weight, and text should be center, and text should be green of 500, or we're gonna put a 600 ratio. Text should be small text. Padding wise should be 2.5. And how much is 2.5? If you see here, it's 10 pixel, like vertically, padding top, padding bottom is 10. And font should be semi bold, rounded should be LG. And after doing that, as you see, you will just watching a clear badge here, and it looks super cool. Now after that ratio, after the product stock, we're gonna get another p tag. We're gonna render a span where we're gonna pass the 20, just to showcase how many people are watching right now. So you're gonna say people are viewing this right now. Okay, so that data should enter here. Okay, after that, for this span tag, bg should be black, and text should be white, and padding x should be 3, padding y should be 1, and text should be extra small, not small I think. Font should be semi bold, and rounded should be MD, margin right should be 2. So to keep that 20 in a larger value, as you see, that looks a little bit better from the previous one. Put a class name. By default the text should be the base text. Text should be gray of 800. Okay, and after this, but this like the view properties, we're going to render one more property, which will be our product dot, and we are going to pass the description. So you will see the entire description about the product, whatever the ratio is available. It should be passing here, but it's not coming. Why? Description. Why this product has no description? That's annoying. Should be providing the description for sure. Okay, we're gonna render again. Let's go back. We're gonna go and pass in another product. Yeah, it's there, just some refreshing error. And put a class name, and then we're gonna make a text should be a small text. Text should be gray of, let's say, 600, and we're gonna make a tracking white. Done. So as we did this property, now it will be very simple combination here. After that p tag, we're gonna just call back our add to cart button, and here we're gonna render the button properties, and in that button we're gonna pass the product as our default product. So entire product should be available in the add to cart button. And if you click here, you see the same ratio, same one. Remember, we created one single add to cart button, and we're gonna utilize it everywhere. Okay, and after that, okay, there is the product. Why? What's wrong? We can just define if it's in the product. If we go back in our add to cart, so why? What's wrong here? Oops. No, it's product is already here, so it's supposed to. Okay, we can pass one more properties, like if we make an item count of 5, it will getting our 5 value. Okay, that's cool. It's working, means it's working perfectly. Okay, that's the one we made it as a use client. So we can define one more properties here. What you're gonna say is that const, let's say, is client, set is client, which going to be use state. By default it will be false, and we're gonna render our client property. It should be the third bracket, not the second bracket. It was my mistake. Now here we're gonna also passing one use effect hook to be ensure it's use client. So use effect gonna run here. So if this one is use client properties, only then it will be render. So means set is client should be true. Okay, so we are sending this client true. Now if like if the property is not is client value, then we are just going to return null. So means it will return nothing. If we just see now the cart is there, if we say no, it will not be is client, as you see that disappears. So by that we are going to help back with the properties. Now also we can make one more ratio here. If we have the product value and we can render the add to cart, it depends on us, it will work in a both formation. So now as we are having that, now we need to create a little bit of flexible design for us. Now this design is just to comparing that, keeping that state properties, so that I'm not gonna go broader and keep that one in a very unique manner. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna popping that design here. It's just a simple design. Don't worry, I'm gonna explain each and everything for you. But first I need to grab those icons here. So let's go at the top and bring back all the icon which I need to use. So those are the icons properties I'm gonna use. Now what I am doing actually, it's a pretty simple concept. I'm just taking an object here, not an object, in a div. In the div I'm getting one like a compare color. As you see, we can compare color, we can ask question, we can delivery and return to share, just to make in a very unique way to design and advance to make it look better. And what we did, we put an, as you see, that's the div is responsible to generate. As you see, it's a flex wrap property, means if you are going in the small properties, as you see how it's aligned, it will support in all the way to the highest to small devices. So it has a 4 div, which is one is the compare color, one is the ask question, one is the delivery return, one is the share. You can make it array and render one time. So I'm gonna showcase, or you can just do it by yourself. You can just render it within a color, within a an array, then you can pass it here. It just to make that one to be perfect design. It's up to you. If you want to make it, okay. If you don't want it, no worries, it will be fine. Now after this property, I'm gonna also grab one more ratio, the similar pattern, which will be, so that will be for our flexible payment and others. If you come back here, it will render pretty soon. Yeah, free shopping, flexible payment. So it's a 2 div which going to be wrapped with 1 div. As you see, it's the top layer, which is flex wrap, item center, gap is 5, and here we are passing 1 div which gonna concate with the free shopping over 120, and there is some small, not complex, a pretty cool design, and here the same ratio coming twice. That's it, nothing fancy. And now if you can see, we have a free shopping, flexible payment amount, so it's, I think it's quite okay. If you just go back here, and now if you just coming back with any of the product, any of the parameter, it will completely, it will be fine. Now there is one more thing is there. Whenever, especially in the search page, if I just put like that chips and enter, it's taking us anywhere. As you see, it's bringing us in the search page, as the page is not created yet. So what we need to do, we need to create our search page, and then we need to pass the value so that it will work perfectly. And how we can do that is pretty simple, as we did our unique properties here. So here we're gonna take one more in the client, we're gonna take one more directory here, which should be as search, and in the search we will bring back our page, which will be page.tsx rafce, which going to be our search, search, search page. And after doing that, you should be able to see one search page here. Okay, it will render okay, what is written here, search page, is it not coming as search? Let's roll back again. Default exports in React component, which should be there, and let's say chips. Okay, we have the search page. Now for the search page, it will be a simple, not so much complex, it will be a simple parameter. We first, let's just make a standard design here, then we're gonna hopping through the other properties. Or first we're gonna grab that like the query, and to grab the query, we need to pass the search params, which will be search, it should be params, and in the search params it will be defining a props here. We're gonna define the props at the top, and the props should be interface, and the props it will be defining here, which going to be search params. And in the search param, we're gonna pass our query parameter, which going to be a string. So whenever we're gonna pass any value here, it will just be entirely grab it here. And also again, we need to make it in a async way. So const, it should be the query, and that should be await, and it is search params. So search search params. Now if we log, we should be able to get back our query. And if we just open our terminal here, and now I'm gonna just go at the back. So here, if we just roll back and try to adjacent to create one more things, like say juice, hit enter, and as you see, it's return, it should be passing the juice. Why it's not passing the juice? So we are not getting the query. We have search for slashers. I think, okay, let me grab it within a key value so it will be easily be seen. Now what we are doing here, first thing first, we are passing one search params value, right? So that's our search params. So in the search, from the search param, we should be able to get our query, and we are now, it's here. It's rendering, but sometimes it just maybe annoyed of some of the internet issue or something, but it's rendering. Like if we get of that mango and passing here, it should render, and as you see, query is coming as mango. Okay, that's cool. Now what you need to do is that create a search params query by which we can grab our product. And how we can grab that? It's very simple. First, let's write our query. To write the query, we're gonna grab the value which going to be export const, and it will be product underscore search underscore query. And here we're going to define how it's going to be passing over there the value. So the defined query, we're going to pass within a within an asterisk. It will be pretty much similarly like the before we used to do it. And underscore type is equal to be our product, and we're going to pass also NN. We're going to pass a name, and the name should be match with the search params which we are going to provide, search param, and that within that parameter, whatever the params we are going to dumping on there, it will go and fetch the products within that layer if it's available, and the product, it will be name ascending. That's it. So a simple conditioning running. As you see, we are passing, we're going to get all of our products, and from the product there is one more condition. First it will grab all the product, then it will compare that if the name is matched with search param. Like there is a mango, whatever the product, if the product it contains mango, that products it will be available here. So whatever the products contain mango, one product, it will return that one product. If I pass that honey, whatever product contain honey, or if I pass the potato, that product, that much product, 1 2 3 4, how much is available there, it will fetch and pass it to me. Now let's go back to the index. Here we're gonna pass that our value. So const, we're gonna export it, search products by, let's say by name, and here it will be an async function, and in that function we will take a value, right? We're gonna pass our search param value. So search param, which will be as a string value, and here it will go with the try catch property, and in the try catch we're gonna just similarly go and put an action. This one, instead of null, it will return an empty object, empty array, and we're gonna say either fetching fetching product by name error. And if we are having successful, we're gonna need to try something. So const products, and products is equal to await, which need to be passing with the sanity fetch properties, and in the sanity we're gonna pass a query. The query, it should be our product. I think that value is the product search query, and after that we're gonna pass our params. In the params we're gonna pass our search params, which will be search params, and in that search params we need to pass the search params, so it will be our search params. That's it. So after passing that, we should be able to grab our product, and after grabbing the product we need to return, not that, return, which should be products.data. If the data is not available, just pass that empty array. So now if we roll back to our properties here, I'm going to close this, that one, okay, here. So now what we can do here to grab our product, right? So let's say const products, it should be await, And here we're gonna pass search products by name, and let's say log, and in the log we're gonna pass the products. Remember why the error is coming, because we need to pass our search params directly there, or you can say not the search params but the query. That's it, super simple. So here, as you see, we have one mango juice back here. So let's say juice, hit enter, we should be able to get. And as you see, okay, there is an error. Okay, we can fix that. What's the error? Client error, response status code is 400, means okay, param search for reference but not provided. We referenced the search param but we didn't provided it. How? Okay, we are passing the search params. The query is there. Okay, let's put a backtick and say search params. Is it holding it? Let's try one more time. Okay, no worries. Let's say try again. Okay, similar effect. We can just debug that issue. I think the issue, see here, this should not be a problem, of course. I think the issue is this one, SCARCH. Yeah, that is one S is extra is there. I think that was the issue. So let's just try again this time. I think it should work fine because it's a simple issue. It should not be aligned altogether. So here, if we just go with the juice again, and we should be render. Yeah, now as you see, we're getting our juice product. So means we are good to go. We're having our product perfectly. Just a simple error, as you see that params, so as should be deducted as the query is getting that search param. If you put as there, it should be aligned as also. Now we are having the product, so we will take a two condition layer here. First thing first, if we have no product here, like no products dot length is available, means it didn't find any product. And of course we are not getting the our type safe, because we need to run a simple command here, which going to be our type gen command. So okay, I think it's stuck somewhere. Let's say we'll just make that. Okay, it's not coming, so npm run type gen. So now it will generate our product types. So first we're gonna just make a simple condition here, which going to be if we have our products but this product has no length, means we doesn't have our products. So products dot length, if that is not available, then we're gonna simply return something. The return, it should be passing us as a div, and in the div we're gonna pass another div which will pass one h1 tag, gonna say no products found for, and in a span tag we're gonna pass our query so that the people will know which query have no products. Let's roll back in the previous session, and here we're gonna type something like blah 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 and hit enter. As you see, no products found for whatever we pass here. Now put some value here, put a class name, should be flags, flag should be column. But before making the column, we're gonna pass one more properties, a p tag. It will be there, which will be try searching with different keywords. Okay, so that's the two value we are going to pass here. And to let it align, I think I think one div should be enough for me. Why I need that too? Because it's just a simple text going to be rendering here. Now what I'm gonna do, put a class name, background is white already, so no need to. Okay, we can also make that background color white, or I think we need to div, because I'm gonna put it in between all together. Okay, so it should be in the middle screen. So put a flags, and item should be center, justify should be center, and min height should be screen, bj should be gray of 100, and I'm gonna pass a padding of 4 just to see where it's landing right now. And after passing that, as you see, it's just in the middle. So now what I'm gonna do in that particular div, background color should be white. I think that padding 4 is not required, because as we are not submitting anything in between that layer. So the padding should be color should be white, padding should be 8 rounded should be LG, and DED rounded LG. And after that, we're going to pass a shadow, which should be also MD, and we're going to pass a full width, and we're going to pass a max width of 4 axle, and that one, it should be only in MD screen. Okay, so first it's going to take the full width only in MD, and that's why we need the padding, right? So should be padding of 4, because in the smaller screen it should go and pass back the layer. Like if you go here and if you're rolling in the smaller screen, you see we're getting that padding. So that's the one, is the reason to keep it like that way. We didn't make it responsive? Oh, okay, we'll make it responsive. It's not yet there. Now for the h1 tag, let's put a class name. Tag should be let's say 3 axle. 3 axle, font should be bold, margin bottom should be 3, and also this one we're gonna make all the text should be center align. Okay, so should be text center align. Okay, and after that, for the span tag properties, let's put that class name. Text should be dark blue, and for the p tag, let's put a class name. Text should be gray of 600. Okay, so now you're gonna see is that we are passing one value here. So if we doesn't have any product right now, it will pass that with error. Okay, so I think it's quite good. Or you can also make that like no need to pass that in the justify center. Okay, justify center, it will be there. Let's say it will not make that item center. Let's see, we can just keep it in a simple way. Okay, cool. And we're gonna make that padding, and height should be 96, just to see. Yeah, I think no need to provide that extract, so people can easily concate that. Okay, so now if we doesn't have the product, it will be visible. Now what if we have the product, right? Then what it gonna be? As you see, after having the product, that things is not rendering, it's coming right here. So if we having the product, we're gonna render a container, right? And it will be super simple to generate our product. So we're gonna pass our container, and in the container, as you see previously, we have one we're gonna pass one h1 tag here. We're gonna say whatever is that search results for, we're gonna pass an span, and we're gonna pass our query. And after that h1 tag, we're gonna pass our product grid. Remember, we have that. Is it a product grid or product list? I think we create that product list, right? So in the product list, we're gonna pass our products, which are going to be our products. And after saving that, let's see if we can see something. Okay, we are having one product at a time, which is coming with the categories and other property. Okay, not so bad. I think it's quite okay. So right now, as we have that, if we come back in the product list, this overall segment, we can make it with particular ideas how to do that. So previously, as we passed the condition, so this one now we can render. So this one we don't want to see it here. If we just save, I think that will disappear. Yeah, that is disappearing, so means it's working perfectly. Now what we can do, we can make that one like in a separate zone. I think that would be perfect, so that it will not combine all together, and it will also pass the value ratio the way it's supposed to be. And to do that, this is our product list. So in the product list, we're gonna make another parameter which will be product grid. I think in that grid we will pass that value. So here we're gonna take one more components, which will be, let's say, our components, and there will be product grid.tsx rfce. Here we're gonna pass our product grid value here. So from the product list, instead of passing that here, I'm gonna just simply pass that product grid here. So let's cut all together, and here it should be product grid. And if we just roll back in our top layer of the home page, we should not be able to see any product yet. So here we're gonna pass our products value, which will be as products. And in the product case, we're gonna pass this value here, so this should be all together aligned. Now in that grid properties, we're gonna also grab our products and just put in line the products which will be as a type of product, or as you can say, we can just simply align it together here as a props. We can just pass the props value here, props. Okay, we need to define our types here and we are good to go. So now instead of that product grid, we will be able to see the product. Now if we click here, instead of this entire product list, we will pass that our product grid value. Okay, so let's grab the product grid. Now as you see, it should not providing us any of the error prone property. Let's just go back here, try to go with the juice. Okay, grid is not defined. We need to import that, of course, otherwise it will not work. The list, which is not mandatory here, we're gonna just keep it out of the box. Now also we need to provide some design pattern here by which it gonna looks a much better way. And to do that, remember that container, we're gonna make a class name here, but beforehand first make a class name here, which is going to be flex. And I think we're gonna make it in a flex column portion. Item should be center and justify should be in the top. Justify top, not start, should be top. And min height should be screen, and also bj gray should be 100, so that it will contain all the gray properties, and minimum height it will take that ratio, so this will look much more better. Now in the container also padding should be 8, and we're gonna provide a background color which will be white, and rounded should be LG, shadow should be MD shadow, and then margin top should be 3, just to keep aligned together a little bit more lower case. As you see, it will just push a bit bottom here. Okay, looks perfect. For the H1 tag, remember the one which we give it earlier at the top, so we're gonna just borrow that from there, and we're gonna pass the value here, and we will pass that search results for. Okay, now I think we will be able to good to go. As you see, for the juice is coming here, and if we just roll back, we will be able to grab any other property value, and it will just render perfectly aligned and pretty much in good shape. Now if we put in the chips, if we have chips, it will come here. We can go and search. Now one more thing is that once we need to also provide that search value, right, for the categories value. And how we can do that? It will be also pretty simple to align that categories value. And to do that, let's go in our categories. So we need to go back to the categories, and in the categories we will create one more file. I'm going to close others instead of that, and in the components we're going to create a new file which will be category selector, selector.tsx rafce. Here we're gonna pass our category properties, and to define that, it will be in a pretty simple way. We will just make that as a category selector, and here we're gonna pass our categories as the all categories, so that it will combine all together. So let's say categories should be our categories. And also we're gonna say put a class name padding y should be 5, just to give a little bit room to breathe on that premises. So now let's roll back to our padding categories. Here we will define that property here. So we're gonna pass first, we're gonna grab that categories, and that category is also going to be defined with a props value, and that props value should be interface should be props, which going to be as the properties going to be aligned together. Remember the previous one, it will be the same one. Categories should be category, and it will be an array of category. Okay, done. Now what we need to do, we need to combine all together to grab our category value. And how we can do that? We can simply go bring our like a pop over and other value. So we're gonna use the command and pop over. So let's go in the chat Shen UI. I think here we will pass that command. So let's go in the components, and here we will get our command value, which will be I think this one. Yeah, Not the command. I think if which one we are looking for. Let's see. Okay, if we go in the pop over, yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, that's one will look fine. Yeah, once you go up, as you see how it's fetching, I think that will be perfect. So let's go and grab that. Let's npm, and we're gonna render this one first. So we're gonna get the pop over. And before doing there, like while we're doing that, we will also can face something. I'm going to show to you what we are going to build up, because we need to go and grab to create our order schema and other value which need to be rendered properly. Otherwise the functioning, it will not be go in the way we are looking forward to. Okay, it's installing. We need to prepare our order schema. So as you see in that our value here, we have that order properties, and also we are having the order. We can now, because previous two we have to tracking with the order number, stripe checkout session, and all properties, especially that products value. If you click on the product, you're gonna have a overly idea how many products and how the quantity is arising. Especially if you go back to your card, you will be able to see the details in a perfect way. So that details can be combined whenever we are going to write the schema. So also, as you see, we didn't have that schema yet. So if you just roll back to the schema, we are having only that two schema here, not two, is three, I think three, one category product cell. So while we are getting the category, we will also create that schema here so that it will be available, because I will then change my product category criteria, that the ID and others, to just roll back everything to fetch the all like all the current product easily. So it will be pretty cool to see much more products here. You can upload, and don't worry, the product link which it will be in the description, I'm gonna upload all the product and attach the link in the description. Feel free to download the product if you want to use the same products. So let's go back to our current project. So we are getting the pop over. So now we can also, as we are having the pop over, we also need to pass the command value here. So let's go and grab the command also. Then we're going to render our category section. It will be super simple to easily capture that portion. So get the command. And here now, how we will explore and how we're going to keep the things here, right? To do that uniquely, as you see, that's we have the category selector, right? Now here, we're going to render all together like in a very efficient way. First, what you need to do to make it as a use client, because we're going to use that pop over value, especially the open and close value, which we need to use the use client properties. So it's better to keep it as use client, otherwise it will also start making popping up. So const, we're going to pass the open value, which will be set open, and by default it will take the use state properties, and by default it will take as a false value. And also you're going to pass a value which going to be set value, and in that value put a use state. By default it will be an empty. Now also you're going to make that router which going to be rendering from that use route, not the user, should be use router. And whenever you are trying to import use router, especially in Next.js, please remember to capture that using that next navigation. Now instead of this all of the things, we don't want it, we will render one pop over. So let's say pop over, and that pop over should be coming from UI. Remember, as we okay, I think we need to force, will not force, we'll go in the legacy path dependency. So now here, if you just roll back to UI, you're gonna see we have the pop over. The command is installing. After install the command, also it will appear right here. Now in the pop over, what kind of things we can render? First thing first, in the pop over value, okay, command also install. So you will see that command is right here. After installing, you can just use it as I'm doing right now. So now in the pop over, we're going to pass a two value here, which will be open, which going to be defined that open value. When we're gonna click that open, it will be open, and on open change, it will be just click to create it and as set open, right? So right now we have nothing here. Then we're gonna pass that pop over, and it will be pop over trigger. And in that, and remember, not take that from the Redux UI React. It will should be passing from that UI pop over, right? Otherwise you're gonna get some error here. And on that properties, we're gonna pass our button. And in the button, how we gonna say in the button? First, let's say we're gonna make that a chevron down icon. Chevron, I think it's a SHEVRON up down. I think up, chevron up down. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, if we hit enter, as you see, we can see now one icon here. Don't worry, we're gonna pass the other value also. Now from that button, we're gonna pass the variant. So the variant should be, let's say it will be outline. And also we're gonna pass the role, which is going to be as a combo box. So combo box. And after that, we will also pass that area expand level. So area, it should be expanded. And area expanded, only it will be happen once it is open. Okay, so after that, we also need to pass one more property. Put a class name. We're gonna pass a width of 200 pixel, and after that also going to pass justify between, because we're gonna capture two value. Justify between need to be there, and the other value, as you see, that's the popover, right? So we need to pass the other value beforehand. Now this value going to be, we're gonna pass the value, like if we have the value, then we're gonna pass that categories dot find, and from that we're gonna get that category as every parameter as category, and from that category we're gonna pass that category, it should be category dot id is equal to the value, then value dot title we're gonna pass, and if the value is not there, we're gonna just pass a message filter by category, should be category. So right now, as we are not having the value, it will just pass that filter by category. So now we are having the popover trigger. So with that, the popover going to be triggered. Now we are going to render our popover content. So it should be popover content, and in the content we're gonna render our command list, which is going to be from UI command, and from there we're gonna get that our command input value, and in the command input value we're gonna pass the other parameters so it can search from there, right? So right now for the popover content, we're gonna make a class name, which, let's say class name, which going to be width going to be full, and padding should be 0. Okay, right now it will be, as you see, it's coming here but not so looks perfectly. We're gonna make it align properly, and here let's say in the command, not in the command, in the command input we're gonna inject some of the ratio, should be not class name, should be placeholder, which would be search category, and after that let's say dot 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 3 dot here, then put a class name. We're gonna make a height of 9. Okay, and now once we are, as you see, that's the rendering that. So I think that should trigger perfectly. So we can just make that as a similar width. I think that will be good, otherwise it's lacking, I think, the more space. So let's say give it 200. Okay, yeah, now it's looking good. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to pass that as having the command. So now we need to grab the command input value is there. So once we are inputting on there, we can just, I'm gonna pass one value here. So let's say on key down, I think it should be on key down, and on key down it should be like we're gonna pass an event here, and from the event we're gonna take some more parameter. If e.key, like e.key is there and is equal to enter, right? If we hit the enter button, and then what it's gonna be do, const selected category, category it should be is equal to categories dot find, and from there we're gonna take a category name. I think should be, yeah, should be category, and from that properties let's say c dot title, and that title, and we're gonna make it to lowercase, not local lowercase, we're gonna just make that as lowercase, and after making that lowercase we need to match that, like includes, if that includes that with that e dot current current target dot value. We're gonna pass the value and then dot to lowercase. So whatever we're gonna type, we're gonna match it with the category value, right? That should be selected. If we search something, it will check whatever the category we have injected there, only that one it's gonna pass. Okay, to make you more understanding, I'm gonna just keep it as right now, do this later. Okay, after rendering the category, I'm gonna showcase what we are going to render right now. So after this ratio, we're gonna pass our command list. In that list, we are going to showcase the value. Or like if we are not finding anything, like if we have command empty value, then we're gonna pass no no category found. Okay, now if we are having that products here, so it should be common group. So in the common group, we're gonna map through the categories, right? We have our categories.map, and here we're gonna pass everything in between as a category. And after that, what we're gonna do, we are going to return the command item. So in the command item, we're gonna pass our value. So first value, it's going to be taking that category.title. So it should be category.title. And also for the key value, we need to provide that. So the key should be category, not categories, should be category.id. And after that, also for the value we're gonna pass that as the title value, like the category.title. So now if you see, we have juice and beverage, we have snacks. So we have two value properties, juice and beverage and snacks. So now one more ratio I think we need to provide, like if on select. So whenever we're gonna select a category, what is going to happen? We're gonna pass directly that one to another screen, right? So we're gonna make that as a set value. We're gonna set our value. So it's going to be the value, it should be is equal to category, should be category and dot underscore id. If that is there, okay, otherwise it will just pass that our category dot underscore id. So means it's gonna set the value if the category is id is, I think, yeah, the set value is category id is there, category id. Otherwise I think it should if id is there, then we're gonna pass the category id, right? So category id underscore id. Otherwise it's gonna pass it as a null value. So let's say it will be null. And then we're gonna make that router dot push. We're gonna push that through our, like we need to make one dummy page which will be categories, and in that categories we're gonna make that category with a particular id, should be category then dot slack dot current. So within that slack property, we're gonna pop that up, and should be set open. We're gonna make that open as false value. So what is gonna happen, also you're gonna click, first we're gonna define one category page, only then we're gonna render that. Otherwise, because it will just pumping one error here. So what I'm gonna do here in that our app, directly here we're gonna inject another, should be categories, and after that also it will render with, we're gonna render a slag here because we are routing that with that slag property. And right now let's create a page.tsx rafce which going to be categories page. So right now if we click here, as you see, juice and beverage, it's gonna pass that value automatically. As you see in that layer of that like a params, we're getting the juice and beverage, and we are coming here directly there. So right now it should having that, right? We created categories, GORIES. Did we miss anything? GORIES categories. Okay, we should have that. Let's roll back here again. We should have that page right there, but I don't know why it's not getting. If we click snacks, okay, it's there, but it's missing something is mentioning there. Okay, before passing that value here, we can also need to fix something. So let's see. Okay, yeah, that's my bad. It's in that, not this layer. It should be within the client. Yeah, it just passing in the root layer. Okay, again, that's the mistake we did. I think what we need to do is that we just okay, as where we're in the client. No, we are not in the client. We'll just inject within the client. Okay, now if we go here in the client, we should be able to see that. We just need to move that within the client because we did it in the app. We should not do it in the app. We should be do in that client directory, right? I think now it will be fine if we just click on that category, and then as you see, it's roll back into my category screen. What's the error is there? A button cannot be descended of a button. Okay, there is some button property error. We can check it out. We can just need to roll back to the properties sense. If we just come here, let's see what we did here. So that's the categories, that's the command item. Did we miss anything here? So the command empty, command list we have been provided. Now, what the things we did wrong? So that's the command is injecting everything on the command. So if we just grab that list properties, hit save. Okay, the problem is here only. Okay, now what we need to do is that if we are having that command item, right? So we can now put a categories and we are mapping through that. So we have the command group. Now in the command item, as we are passing that, we can also pass a check value. So the check value, it should be check. Need to import it there, and the check value, it should be like the class name. If we having that, also you need to combine with the cn value. So now here we're gonna pass that margin left should be auto, and here we can also define our own variation. Like if we have that value is equal to of that category, should be category dot underscore id. And then we will pass that as opacity of, like, say 100. And if it's not, then the opacity should be 0. Means if it's selected, only then you can see the check icon. But right now it will not be available, so as we are just fetching directly there. I think our hydration error, is it evaporated? I think so. Yeah, no, it's still there. It's still there, and I believe if we just make that one disappear, I think it's disappearing too. No, is it not yeah, it's not disappearing. Means it's having to be in some other ratio here. So if we go in the category selector, let's see if we just remove that category selector. Let's see if it's persisting or not. I will inspect that for sure, just to see in where exact error is appearing. Okay, right now what we can focus is coming from our category, right? So let's see the category. Yeah, it's coming from the category. Button cannot be descendant. Okay, product list, pop over open. Okay, there is some. Okay, we're passing the pop over, then the popper. Okay, let's see what we did wrong. We may have made some mistake. So we have the pop over, which we trigger as a pop over. Okay, cool. Okay, before doing that, also we need to finish our balance work. So what we have been doing here in that, like, we can also finish that one in that category layer. After this, as you see, if we have the selected category slag.item, okay, should be that one selected. I think the okay, that one has a mistake. Selected category. Okay, why it's okay, it need to be entering with that property. So now what we are saying here, if we have, like, in the selected, like whenever we are entering there, if selected category slag.current is there, we are passing that value as a set category. And how we can see, if we just make it as a juice, as you see, is selected. Now we can select and roll back to our there. Now this time also, if matching with the current, we are passing the set value as a selected category.id, and the router, we are pushing that through, and I think we are good to go. We are made through a good progress here. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a quick overview here from where the hydration error is coming. Then we're gonna roll back to pass that our product grid properties. I think the error can be coming from here. If we define that one as child, I think that will be just going. I think so, but it's still not sure yet. Okay, I think, yeah, that's good. So only that pop-up trigger, now it is knowing that it can be rendered through as a child properties, and it's okay. It's having fun, and we're having fun too. So now let's roll back to our page.tsx, where we can now prefetch our categories. We can grab the categories by product. Now we're gonna define one simple property. Remember how we grab that one as the Slack property. That could be the promise for our params. Now for that, we need to grab that params with async way, which should be our params, and that one it will go define as a props value. So now const, we can now define the Slack value. It should be await, and here it will just going to get from the params. So now we need to get the product, right? So how we can get product? So to grabbing the product, first thing we need to grab two properties. One is that const categories is equal to await. It should be get all categories. Okay, first we need to grab the categories, right? So we have the categories, then we need to showcase our product. And how we can do that? It's very simple and pretty much quick way we will go. So first thing first, let's just go back to our criteria here, where we can just grab the products by category. And to grab it, let's say to go in our helper function here in the Sanity helpers. First we will go and check the query. We're gonna write the query, then we're gonna do the other things. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy that similar query here. So this query, as is the product query, it should be, let's say, products, and that will be underscore by underscore category underscore query. So we're gonna grab the product according to our criteria of that category. Now if the type is product and we need to now instead of, or we can write this one from the beginning. So this one layer, if the product type, if the type is the product and we need to also make references as the category going to refrain with the reference. Then we're gonna pass one more value in the reference. We're gonna also pass that value which is going to be underscore type is equal to should be category, and we need to provide that Slack should be Slack dot current, and is equal to, we need to pass that whatever the category Slack we're gonna pass category Slack. Okay, and after that passing this value, so after outsourcing of that property here in that Slack, I think we need to also define one more property here. So after the Slack we need to pass our ID, so it's gonna render the product according to the Slack ID, so we can prefetch that ID and combine the value. Now we can also define that as order parameter. Order should be name as ascending. Okay, so now what we have here, we are grabbing that product in two criteria. First, we are grabbing product by product, then we are following the references as the category references. So we are matching. If we are getting the category product, only then we are fetching those categories product. So the type is product, and the references going to be underscore type is equal to category and the Slack dot current, and from there it should be is equal to category Slack, which the Slack we are going to providing by ID. It's gonna prefetch, and then we're gonna pass the order. So now after having that, now we need to grab the product according to that Slack, and how we can name that. So let's say export const get products by category async function, not like that, should be async function as what I'm doing here, async function, and here it will take a parameter which will be category Slack, and that one also going to be as a string. And right now we'll make again a try catch property value here, and from there we're gonna just passing that matches message there, fetch product by category name, category error, category, we're gonna pass the error. So now we're going to define that const, we're going to pass the products value, should be products is equal to await, and that will be sanity fetch, and from there what we're going to do, we're going to pass the query which going to be products I think product by category query. And after that, in the params, we're gonna pass that our parameter. So it should be params, and in the params, we're gonna pass our category params. I think where I made the mistake here. Okay, it should not wrap within an object. Okay, so not the category params, should be the category slag. Okay, so now after passing that, we should be able to get the product, then return the products. So it should be products dot data. Okay, if data is available, data, otherwise an empty array. Okay, so now we should be able to get our product according to our category layer, which we are going to render. So let's say here const it should be products is equal to await get products by category, get products by category. And here we need to also pass our slag. Okay, let's just to see if we are going to have a product here. Let's go in this next. We should be grab something here. Right now what is saying here, unable to parse entire expression, so means something is wrong here. So first thing first, I'm gonna log the products just to see what's happening. Okay, in the products again, one new error, category slag unable to parse expression. Okay, what's the expression is unable to parse? I think something maybe we missed in our query. I think so, that can be only happen, otherwise it's supposed to be fine. So in the query, what we have been done, if we just go back here, let me try again. Yeah, that was the expression. Okay, what's the changes there? So we're getting that underscore type is equal to product. So that's our first parameter. And we're passing that references. And here underscore type is equal to category. Okay, and we're passing that slag dot current. And here also we are passing that category slag. And then we are passing is according to the ID. I think which one we are making a bit mistake here. Okay, I'm gonna make it bigger just to see if we are in the right track. Okay, so now as we can define here, let me see again. The type is equal to product, so we're getting our type, it should be okay. And we're passing the references, and underscore type is equal to category, and we're getting the slag dot current is equal to, it should be our category slag. And after that we are passing the value. Okay, I think that one expression can be causing that error, I think so. No, not yeah, not that expression. So which one is okay, wait a minute, why there is two? There should be one. So means we are, yeah, did we duplicate that? So that's our first expression. Okay, let me write again. We are just missing one expression here, that's it, nothing else. So we can fix that. So it should be asterisk, then the third bracket, then we're gonna pass a type is equal to, should be a value of a product. Okay, what's wrong? Okay, I close all together. Or let me just go and define the query again. Now here we will pass one, like say underscore type, it should be accordingly products. And then we're gonna make that references, and in the references we're gonna get also another parameter here, which is going to be also that underscore type, which would be is equal to category. And then we're gonna make the slag dot current, which will be is equal to, and then we're gonna also make that our category slag. And after the category slag, we're gonna render that within the ID. I think that's one was okay. We just make one of that, like one of the bracket, it was more ascending. And this time, if we can render, yeah, it's now projecting the product. So I think we're in good hand, so no worries, we fix that. It's just having a little typo error, so it can be fixable. So now as we're having the property here, as we're having the value, now we can go and grab the properties and mix those things popping up in a good fashion. And to do that, in the category layer, how we can make that things to be done in a proper way. It will be pretty simple. So let's go back to our page here. So in the page, what I'm gonna do in that category layer, I'm gonna take a container. So in the container, I'm gonna define how we need to capture those. Let's put an h1 tag, and here I'll make that search results for. Then I'm going to pass the span. Here I'm going to define the category. But first thing first, let's go in the top layer here, put a class name, should be flex, flex should be column, item center, justify top, justify should be, I think, item center, bj gray of 100, and hit save. Okay, we should be in a right place. Okay, cool. Now here, put a class name, padding should be 8, and here bj should be white, and then rounded should be lg, shadow should be md, margin top should be 3, and we will be coming here evaluating this ratio, right? So right now there is something fishy here. We can pass that width. Why is not getting the full width? That's my question. Yeah, now it's getting, so we need to combine with that to provide the full width. Let's go. So in that h1 tag, put a class name, text2 should be 2xl, and md text should be 3xl, and font should be bold, so we can see the text properly. And in that span tag, we can now modify that. We can pass that slag. So in the slag, we can split the slag. And how we can split? We can just make that one as a hyphen, as it's going to coming as a hyphen. So we need to take it in this actual value, and here we're going to pass the map as a word, and from the word we will pass that word dot, we're going to make that character at, and from the 0 we will just make that, we're going to make that as to uppercase, and after that uppercase letter we're going to concat that. So let's say word dot slice, then we're gonna just slice this within one parameter, and after slicing that we're gonna join it all together, and we're gonna join within according to the empty spaces, so that will be there, and after that it will be our as a collection. So the search results for its next collection, and for this one we can make some of the class name here. The text should be dark blue. Cool. So now we did it. Even you can just, if you want to make it, you can just keep it outside, so we can now have that next collection. If we now roll back to get another positioning here, if we can just make filter category and juice and beverage, we should be able to get the juice and beverage. Now after that h1 tag, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just pass that product list, and in the product list we're gonna pass that our products, which will be the products, and in the categories we're gonna pass our categories, so we should be able to render the entire screen which we have in the home. Now day of the deal and others, we don't want to showcase that. How we can maximize that, right? And to do that, if we see in the product list category, we have one value title, right? So now what we gonna say, if this one, so that's the one is the making problem, right? So I'm gonna make a condition, if there is no title value, only then you can render it. Means if the title is not empty, like false, right? So what I'm gonna say, from here I'm gonna pass a value that should be title should be true. So means the title should be true, it should not appear, right? So if only title is not there, only that time it will show. If you go in the home page, it will be available, but here it will not be available. As you see, okay, it's not available there also, because in the home, or we can make, say, not like that. Yeah, that's little condensing. So we will go in our home layer, we can say from here title is true. Okay, it is already there, we just need to add the things. Whenever title is true, title will show. We just need to add that, otherwise everything was okay. So if we go in this next, it should not be showcasing the other property. And as you see, the header is running away. We don't want the header to be run away. So I think that's one is fixed. Now little bit work in the header is pending. We'll go and fix that very quick. So let's roll back to our header, and if you're coming here, as you see, it's working perfectly the way it's supposed to be. So it's done. It's fully flexible. If you choose for the snacks value, it will take the snacks. If you choose the juice and other property, it will check. If you make that like let's say chips, enter, it will also let you get your chips. So now one more property need to be pending values here for the header, and let's go make it have more fun in the header. I'm going to close other properties. Now in the header, what we can do more? The thing is, it's not sticky. First thing first, we're going to make it sticky so that it will not go away. So let's make it a sticky one. A sticky top should be 0, Z should be 50, so it will always be at top. Is it there? No. Why? We provide the yeah, now it's there, providing the value. And also we need to make it as a good way so that it will be in a proper shape. If we just make it a little bit lower, as you see, it's crash altogether. It should not crash, right? So now what we can do in that header properties, so we have the container. So instead of wrapping everything with the container, we also going to make this entire ratio of that should be providing in a proper way. Should be this one altogether and this. Okay, so now what we can do, we can make the things, as you see, is a flex item center, justify between, and putting a gap of 5. We can make that also flex wrap. So every time there is no space, it will take this space and just go below that. Is it going? No, it's not going. Okay, I think maybe we are missing something. If we come here, okay, it's coming, yeah, as you see, it's coming. So now we just need to align a bit. Okay, it's coming there. Okay, so what we can do, we can make it more flexible. So to do that, as you see in the card, in the lower bit icon here, so that is the card icon. From there we can just make a little bit smaller. So text already is small, so we can check the icon here. So MD, we will say MD, it will be with 6 MD, and basically we're gonna provide a width of 3, height of 3 to put a smaller icon, or I think 5 by 5 icon is what we need. And for the text, let's say that is small, and this one also going to be MD screen, and this one text should be extra small. Okay, I think we can just render within this in between time, and we can just re-render the properties, and the gap 2, it should be only in MD. Initially we're gonna provide a gap of 1. Yeah, so you see the way we concat that. You can also make avail that one, the concatation, the way we can make that mixed up. So now in the sign out button, as you see, the name is getting the error. So what we can do is that welcome back and others, we can just disappear. So by default it will be as hidden value. MD, it should be inline flex. So right now you will view only the icon, probably, most probably. I think so. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Now instead of flex wrap property, which I really don't like at all, because the flex wrap only wrapping on the things going to become in vision. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it is a flex, so it will be flex column, and MD should be flex row. That's it. Simple, super simple. Now if we come back here, okay, yeah, super simple. Okay, that's getting, but it's not so good, because also in MD item should be center, so that the item by default it can also get through any start properties. Okay, good. Now your homework is that this icon and the search value should be aligned together. Right now it's not aligned. you need to make it align together. That's the work only need to do in home. Okay, so now we have this value. So what we need to do is now to create our schema, because we have the product. If we click, we are getting the single product. If we go with the category, we are viewing the product. So everything is good to go. Now very first thing is to write our actual schema by which we can now grab the other properties. So we need to go in our schema types and now provide the schema. And in the schema type, this will be one of the core schema. So you need to be very careful, don't mess around, be quietly type and be careful with that. So the type.ts, here we're gonna type our order schema and how it will be. So it should be export const order type. It should be the define type, and in the define type parameter we're gonna pass an object, and over here we're gonna pass a name, and the name should be as an order name by which we can grab the data from the database. The title should be as a capital order, and then we're gonna make the type, which will be a type of document, and then we're gonna also provide an icon, which will be icon, let's say as a basket icon. And then we're gonna define our fields, which is an array, and within the defined field we're gonna, like within the fields parameter, we need to define each and every field. So it will be defined field parameter, and in the defined field parameter, the first field we're gonna define is that we're gonna pass a name, which is going to be order number, and then we're gonna define that title of the order number, which will be order number. And after that we're going to type a type, which is going to be as a string, and after that we're going to also make a validation here, which is going to be passing that as a rule value. And as you remember, when we're going to set the rule, that we will make that rule dot require. So anyone who is going to type that, they're going to fix that and make that rules to be required. Now, as a very much defined value should be there, what I really want you to take your time, go each and every sect, and then understand and write. But don't worry, whenever I'm gonna pasting that, I will let you know which one I'm and where I'm doing that one in that scenario. So first, as we are going to having the order number, and then the title, it will redirect to the order number, type is a string, the validation rule, which will be the rule is required. So every order should be having that order number. Then we have the defined field, which is going to take that Stripe checkout session ID, and the title should be Stripe checkout session ID, by which we can interact with that. Type should be string, and it's not required at all. The name, it will Stripe customer ID, and there we're gonna get the customer ID from our Stripe, which is the string, and also every customer should have a customer ID. Then now we will gonna get our Clerk user ID. As we are logged in using the Clerk, we should get the ID back here. So as this user has an ID, so that's the ID going to be required right here, and every time any order should be applied, the user ID should be required. After that, we are taking that customer name, which by need to pass to the title as customer name is a string, and the validation is required. Every customer should have their name, also should have their email, which is also be typed as a string. Then the Stripe payment ID, which is required, by which we can generate that yes, that ID, that Stripe payment is done or not. Then remember, we have one product scope there in the order, middle of the order we are showcasing the product. This one we need to define right here so that we can maximize how we can showcase that one. So in the define field, we're gonna define one more properties here, so which will be an object, and that one, the name should be the name of that products. And by that product's name, we can grab that one. The title also, you're gonna pass that as a products. And after that, we will be passing type, and that type, it should be an array of product, not a single product, but an array of product. And from that fields, in that array, we need to note the field set as it is an array. So not this one, I think we can make an of properties, and from that of properties we can make that define array member. Okay, so in that member we will pass that value here, by which we can also need to property pass a type, which will be an object, the member listed within that. Then we're gonna pass the fields here in between. So in the fields, what kind of fields it will be there? That should be actually going to get two fields here. One, it will get that product and the product both, and which will be the reference as the product. So entire products criteria, it can be filled up within that. Then it will come with the quantity purchase, how many quantity is purchased, that's the one I'm going to showcase there. And after that, we'll just get that property value. And after that, to just having a quick preview of the product, we also need to interject that preview mode here, so that we will be able to showcase what kind of product validation and what kind of product variation we are getting all together. So to grab that one, I think we need to pass this value, and to create that product value, I think, yeah, that's the S should not be there. In the preview, we are getting that product, which will be the product name, product quantity, and getting the image from the product image. The price should be the product price, and the currency should be product currency. That product is the product of this reference. So this reference product should be aligned right here. And for the return, we're providing that product and product quantity and the product price into quantity. So you, and also the image. So in that tab, as you remember, there is like a little bit of velocity here, which is we're just showcasing the product quantity value, amount, and the image. And after that, we also need to define some more criteria here, and it will be pretty simple here. I will just popping that up. It's not that much handy, but it's required for that. So now we're gonna get the total price. So remember, we have the product, we need to get the total price, and then we're gonna, price should be number. Every product should have that total price value. Then we're gonna have the currency also, which need to be as required role. Then we will also get the discount amount value. After that, we're gonna get the status, order status, either is pending or is paid. So the both value need to be injected there, or the value is shipped. So from these three, it can be aligned all together. And after that, like there is a 5 value, I think, which is pending, paid, shipped, delivered, and cancelled. So these 3 value, a 5 value can be interject in between. Whenever the payment is done, we're gonna pass the like that paid. Otherwise, also like if any of the error is there, you can make it a note in that online payment, or you can just make a cash on delivery. That time you can go and implement those kind of scenario. And then we are going to have that order date. Now, after having that order data, we need to create an order preview to showcase how we want to showcase the preview. And to show the preview, it will be a pretty simple way. And the way is that we're gonna just rendering that. With that, we are passing selecting value with the customer name, amount, total price, currency, the currency, order ID should be the order number, and passing the email. In that prepare list, in the order ID snippet, we are passing that order ID, and we are slicing it with the 5. So the 5 character, the first 5 and the last 5 we are taking. So the order ID, it should be a long ID, is coming from this tribe. So it will be the first and last 5 character we are taking, and returning value is that name and then order ID snippet. So the customer name and the order ID, then the subtitle should be the amount, and then the currency value is there, then passing the email, and the icon should be the basket icon. So now this is the pretty much all for the order value. This is the order scenario here. So this, the order types is ready. So now as you see, that will be our, in the Sanity we should be able to visible that. But before visible, make it visible, we need to go in here, and remember we need to pass that order type. So after passing that order type, the type should be generating here. So let's just go and render that order type when it's ready. So let's, instead of the structure, okay, where I'm going right now, let's scroll back, or what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close that, and I'm gonna open one more terminal here, and from there I'm gonna view my studio. So localhost 3000, and this one not require. So now we are going to view the order parameter, so that we should be understand how the order is working, how is maintaining the parameter. As you see in the order, now that one we will not fill up. We're gonna inject the order whenever the order is successfully done. We're gonna inject, as you see, every order having the number and the step checkout and other properties. It's also going to deal with that the item of that products, which we right now we can add it here, but it should not be added there. The order must be from there, and then we're gonna have the date and order status. As you see, we can interject with the 5 status here. So right now we don't need that one, so I'm just gonna simply delete that, which is not required. So now I think we are fulfilled. We have our data right there. I think it's good to go to create the other properties. So now what's the pending things ratio here? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change my order, like the page ID, especially for the my store ID, the Sanity ID, so that I can grab my previous data from my previous data set. So here is my previous value ID. As you see, the data is available. Now, I think also what we did here in between, we may need to go back to the page. Remember, we make some dummy arrangement there by which we said we're gonna fix that letter, or either we did in the product listing, this padding bottom. So if we remove that padding bottom, that should be a clear field here. Okay, we should make that padding bottom as 10, not as 32. It will be pretty risky and bigger more. So now we should be able to see a cleaner view here. Okay, yeah, that's cool. So now what we need to do is to get more to set up our store. Remember, we have almost everything in our arsenal, but to make it in a real time as to interface is that to create our store, which we're gonna use it using Zustand.